How's it going, guys? So we're about to watch the first trailer of Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. I heard that the trailer leaked a month ago when they had D23. I do believe that the Ant-Man films are so underrated. You know, they may not be these whole world-saving, huge blockbuster films, but, well, they're part of the MCU, so I guess they are blockbusters. But I love the fact that each one of them takes place mainly in San Francisco. And all of a sudden, Kang the Conqueror will be the villain of this one. You know, it's just so interesting how each one of them, the villains weren't so menacing, but all of a sudden they bring in one of the biggest villains of the entire Marvel universe. Last week I reacted to Creed 3's trailer, which also had Jonathan Majors, so I'm excited to see him again here. I know that they recast Cassie Lang with Catherine Newton. To be honest, it doesn't really bother me because the original actress, she didn't really say much or do much, so I never really got attached to her. We already saw Jonathan Majors in the Loki finale, but that was He Who Remains, and it wasn't really Kang, it was a variant of him. So here we'll be seeing a dangerous version of him as Kang the Conqueror. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your post notification. That way you'll always be updated when a new video drops. And without any further ado, let's get started.
I used to ask myself a lot of questions. Scott, you're at ex-con. How are you an Avenger? That doesn't make sense. But everywhere I go, people tell me the same thing.
Ah, they're really famous.
Thank you, Spider-Man!
People still need help, Dad. That's why we made this. It's like a satellite for deep space, but quanta.
Wait a minute. You're sending a signal down to the quantum realm. Turn it off.
Doesn't sound like a good idea.
Now.
Yeah, that was bound to end badly. Now they're in the quantum realm. Where did he get his suit from? These are the people that live there.
It's a secret universe beneath ours. What are you so afraid of? There's something I never told you.
This place. It isn't what you think.
What is it? That's Kang, isn't it? Oh, Murray.
I can get you home. And give you more time. If you help me.
Hey.
So, what's it gonna be? Ant-Man.
Ant-Man, the Wasp, Quantumania. That was a pretty great trailer. You know, it really was. We got to see more of the quantum realm. In fact, there was a particular shot that sort of reminded me of Star Wars. I believe it was A New Hope, back when they were in Tatooine, inside that bar. We got to see Kang the Conqueror, and one of those shots was him inside his suit with his helmet on, and the other shot was a close-up of him not wearing his helmet. I remember there was an old show called Avengers Earth's Mightiest Hero that used to play when I was a kid. This was like years ago. I believe it ended a decade ago, I'm not sure. And I do remember Kang being one of the villains there. I'm not sure if that was, I think that might have been the second season. So it excites me that we get to see him finally in live action. Because what I know about the guy is that he's a time traveler, and he's from the future specifically, and I believe he's also a descendant of Reed Richards. He also has multiple variants of himself, and one of those variants is a younger version of himself who ended up joining the Young Avengers. So I'm expecting him to be a huge threat, especially since he's going to be the big villain for the upcoming phases of the MCU. I have watched all the MCU films except for Thor: Love and Thunder. I haven't watched that yet, and I also haven't watched this year's MCU Disney Plus shows. So I am familiar with the MCU, I'm not new to it, and I have enjoyed the first three phases. This current one that we're in is a bit divisive. You know, they're not always hitting home runs with their movies or Disney Plus shows. It looks like here that Scott is now very popular. People are loving him. We saw him on the red carpet. I believe it was the red carpet. I'm not quite sure. And there was a kid that he high-fived who looks like he has an Ant-Man bag. And that same place where he lost his job in the first film, he looks like he's now employee of the century somehow. So he's built quite a great reputation for himself, considering that he used to be a thief. His daughter Cassie has now grown. I remember, like in Endgame, there was a 5-year time jump, so she's no longer the cute little girl from the previous film Ant-Man and the Wasp. And it looks like she might be heavily involved in the story. I love the fact that we get to dive into the quantum realm more, because we only got a small part of it in the previous two films. Here it looks like there's a whole ecosystem, there's a whole group of people living inside this tiny world. We also see a shot of Scott as a bigger human being. I believe he's embiggened, and it's pretty interesting how he's able to do that while he's inside this tiny world of the quantum realm. Now, if we remember, Janet Van Dyne was lost in the quantum realm for years, so it's obvious that she has some knowledge of what exactly takes place inside this quantum realm. It looks like Kang the Conqueror might be negotiating with Ant-Man, because he says, I can get you home and give you more time if you help me. So I'm not sure if Scott is willing to make a deal with the devil, but we'll see how desperate he is. And most likely he will, because I feel like that's what's going to be needed in order for the story to happen. But anyway, those are my thoughts of Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania trailer. Please tell me what you thought about it in the comment section below. Have a good one.